Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Glenn Ivey from Maryland, also a former federal prosecutor. So if I can ask you to put that hat on for a second, what do you see in this indictment?
You know, the whole process has been a real shocker to me. I guess Trump is making good on his effort to turn the Department of Justice into a Department of Vengeance. He's got an enemies list, and he's going after the people one by one, apparently, and James Comey happened to be first in line. But it's a sad day for justice, I think, in America.
Do you agree with the move by Jamie Raskin? I know you're not on judiciary, but do Democrats have any tools or levers to get things done to deal with this and what seems to be an intention to have more indictments, even while you're in the minority?
It's very limited. You know, usually you would go to the Office of Professional Responsibility or the IG in the Department of Justice, but obviously they're controlled by Bondi and ultimately Trump. And so there's a limit to what you're going to get out of that, I think, at this point. But we certainly should be doing, I think, letters demanding information about the basis of the evidence that led up to the indictment. Some of that's going to come out in court anyway, because I think Comey's going to take this to trial for sure, and I think he's going to have a great chance of winning. And I expect there to be a pretrial hearing about vindictive prosecution where a lot of this information will come out, too. And I've never seen a case this egregious. I've never seen a vindictive prosecution case win. This might be one for it, though. Really?
You think it could? Seriously, it could win?
I mean, if you look at the evidence that they can put up about Trump's statements over the years against Comey, then leading up to the termination of Siebert after he was apparently unable to bring an indictment or decided there wasn't sufficient evidence to bring an indictment, he gets fired. Then Trump puts in place his former defense counsel who has no prosecutorial experience. And 48 hours later, there's an indictment after the career prosecutors apparently gave her a memo telling her why there's insufficient evidence. This is pretty extreme. This is pretty blatant. And, the politics of this and the political nature of it, I think, are pretty strong. So we'll see. If you can't get it here, though, I don't know if you could ever get it.
Well, it brings me to a trio of things that the president just said. One, he said there is no enemies list, but two, he hopes there are other indictments, because three, he said, this is about justice, not revenge. Would you like to respond to that?
Well, I think you can respond with his own statements on prior occasions. I mean, he's made it clear over the years that he's been after Comey, and then he made it clear that he wanted Siebert out because he wasn't moving forward with the case. And then he put, I think her name's Halligan, in place so they could move along the case. I believe that's a quote as far as getting the indictment. So I think his words speak volumes, I think, in support of the finding, I hope, of a vindictive prosecution in this case.
There are three other prominent Democrats, New York Attorney General Letitia James, California Senator Adam Schiff, Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. They've all been publicly accused of mortgage fraud. Trump has named others, Bolton Brennan. I mean, if there is one indictment, could there be two or three or five?
Sure. I think with, Trump pushing Bondi and the rest of the department, I think anything's possible at this point. That's a very sad statement about how he's willing to abuse the Department of Justice and use it as a tool to punish his people he thinks are his enemies. But I'm hoping we can turn that around. And I do think it's important to make sure it's clear that there will be accountability for the lawyers who are violating their oaths and violating the legal ethics standards for prosecutors, whether it's in front of bar counsel, in the short run, or Office of Professional Responsibility down the road when the Democrats come back in and can have legitimate investigations. But people are going to be held accountable for what they're doing here, and I think it's critical to do that.
Well, let me look at, I don't know if it's the other side of this, but the reality of this. Look, if you're a lawyer at DOJ, and I don't know if you're on a drug case, maybe it's business as usual Monday, right? But if you do anything that's even remotely political, what position does that put you in? And I mean, realistically, are we to expect that everyone is in a financial position to be able to walk away?
No, they're not all in a position to be able to walk away, which is why it's critical to hold the leadership accountable, most importantly, in these kinds of scenarios. But, I mean, I also think it was kind of instructive that she ended up, what's her name, Halligan, had to do this by herself, and bringing it forward and sign for it, because that's a big step. If you're a lawyer and you know there's insufficient evidence to charge somebody with federal crimes, signing the charging document or putting your name on it in court is a big step. And apparently there were a lot of folks who were not willing to do that.
Congressman Glenn Ivey, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.